Okay, so today we're getting into the 8 ways to make communication your greatest asset. And the first way is to treat communication as a multifaceted process. Thought we'd share a little bit about our backstory behind creating this unique, multifaceted approach to creating a communication shift. And it starts really with through the learning laboratory of our own lives. Allison and I have been nonviolent communication nerds, aficionados, study buddies for years, and have experienced some pretty positive shifts in our communication over the, let's call it, first 5-year chunk of our communication empowerment journey. But we started to get curious, like, how can we make these communication shifts happen faster, make them stick, make them more profound and noticeable? And what about the ways that we're approaching communication is incomplete or could be expanded upon?
I also think about it in this way, that how to make it easier and more accessible or
Yes,
more graspable.
and
Like,
more fun.
that often in any kind of personal realization that can happen in therapy or just in relationships or just when you're going for a walk or something, it's easy to grasp it intellectually and even emotionally, and then the trigger comes up again and we react the same way quite frequently.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
my thing has always been like, what's the first rung of the ladder? Like, what's the first thing I can grab onto? That's the easiest thing. So we've spent a lot of time trying to put together a few more of those, like little handles.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about micro shifts.
Yeah. Yeah. And Allison and I have really different and also very complementary backgrounds that bring some different tools and ways of understanding the human experience so we can create this kind of more robust scaffolding around creating a shift in communication and mindset, et cetera. Allison, do you want to share a bit about how your background and experience has contributed to the way we built this curriculum?
Sure. So my background comes more from, I've been a body worker, both of deep tissue therapeutic stuff and neurological based body work, um, and an artist, filmmaker, dancer, performer, feng shui consultant, personal trainer. I have a um, bunch of different skill sets that really come from like a body based, audience based, interpersonal um, way. And then also, I am a coach and I am a facilitator of internal family systems work, which is an basically guided psychodynamic internal world work where you can talk to different parts of your psyche.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
awesome, profound stuff that, as someone who's been in talk therapy, CBT for years, who's worked with somatic and trauma-based specialists, I'm a therapy nerd, is basically what I'm trying to say. I love therapy. I think we all should do more of it. And internal family systems has been um, probably the most profound therapeutic based work that I've experienced to date, specifically with Allison. It's pretty
it's
cool.
really incredible. And it bringing the awareness of our parts from internal family systems into the communication process has been super helpful for us to really get clear on, like, kind of who's talking now, what's the agenda that I'm coming up with, what's the belief, what's the need, what's the feeling, and looking at it from that lens. And then also the body base, the awareness of the noise or the information that the body can bring to us in terms of how physical sensations are contributing to emotions or how they're created from emotions
Yeah.
and needs. Um, and
And just
Go
to
ahead.
chime in quickly, I'm realizing for the first time as we're talking about this, so cool to discover this, that these different lenses of awareness that we bring also helps us set the container for learning in a different way. It's not just the tools and the practices and the curriculum, it's the way that we prepare our students to go on this journey, the way we meet them where they are through a one-on-one experience, the way we create a space that's really safe. Um, and I'm really celebrating that all of those sort of small behind the scenes things actually aren't small. They really, really matter in creating a learning environment that's conducive for a profound shift.
Yeah, and like this quote that we found the other day from Paul Conti, this psychiatrist and writer, about the antidote to shame is understanding, is something that we really bring this deep compassion and sense of vulnerability is safe in our learning work and our learning environments in a way that I think, like you said, is more fun and more playful than some classes I've been in. And perhaps that comes from my background in performance and like your natural tendency to be playful, Lauren. But it's something that we value in our style of how we're teaching. And also the other thing we really value on the teaching in our teaching style that I think creates this container in this unique way is our desire to be allies in the journey, that we're going through this process at the same time that you are.
Yeah.
And that it's not all just like hey, I have all the information and the knowledge and I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah.
So we're going to do some exploring together too.
Yeah.
We're going to learn from you as well.
Exactly. Yes, there's a way that we have an idea and we've created this curriculum around these different facets of communication, right? Emotional experience, values and beliefs, the self and parts, our physical experience, et cetera. And we have these ways of addressing them: nonviolent communication, internal family systems, expressive arts, and overlaying all of that, as Allison described, since we're allies in the journey, we're constantly refining and bringing the best from the learning laboratory of our own lives into that mix.
And from the cognitive and sort of experiential side, do you want to talk a little bit about your work background and how that contributes to just more texture and variety and how we can deal with different situations?
Yeah. So my background, my professional background is in traditional business and investment banking and private equity. So I have a lot of programming and understanding of traditional communication around what it looks like to arrive at the right answer through an intellectual, logic problem solving based process. So I understand the power in that, and I understand the limitations in that in terms of creating a world of understanding. The other leg of my background is in consciousness exploration and mindfulness embodiment work, both in my own healing practices and in creating space for others to experience transformation as a coach and a consultant and a space holder for healing.
I love that. Yeah, it's just this great insight that you can offer people in both like emotional depths and in professional depths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll add about my background is I really believe in bringing experiences from our personal lives to bear. And for me, that includes my role as a parent. It includes my family life. Allison's very much the same way. It includes my business partnership with Allison and honoring that we are whole people. We're bringing all of this to bear, whether we're conscious of it or not. And once we become conscious of it, we can work with it in a really productive, transformational way. So that was cool. That was kind of about the different facets of communication and our unique multidimensional approach, and then kind of our style as well. So that's the first way. Stay tuned for the next one. The first way to make communication your greatest asset.